So lately I've been playing around with the idea of changing fade out times on intensity bumps by using a macro. And the new timing thing in the macro section, this thing, immediate, that was kind of a game changer to a point. Save for the fact that arrow keys, like this, using the arrow keys, it doesn't really work when you set it to immediate, like at all. So that's out the window. Came up with another idea. It somewhat works, but like it works for a bump, but I wouldn't use it if your playbacks are active. Because, well, this is what I did. 2 Q stacks. Only difference between them is one has a 0.3 second fade out time, the other a 0.6. Just move them away from those faders. And yeah, so I'll copy 0.3 to page 1, playback 10. And I'll copy 0.6 to page 2, playback 10. Go back to page 1. And I'll make a macro. So, I'm going to replace this macro that I made earlier. Here we go. So you select playback 10 on page 1, hit release, hit move, S button on playback 10 page 1, go to page 2, put it on playback 1, hit move, hit the select button on page 2 playback 10, hit the previous, hit the S button on page 1 playback 10, go back to page 2, hit move, hit the S button on playback 1 page 2, and the S button on playback 10. Lastly, hit previous to go back to your first page. Hit the macro button and the macro. And here's what it does. Watch the playback 10 while I trigger the macro. It literally changes instantaneously. The only thing that actually changes, like between the 2 cues, is the fade out time. However, to get this to function properly, you have to release it to move it, so there's gonna be a slight blackout. Also, you probably want it to be at the same position it was prior to moving it. Like when I trigger this, okay, it's at the same spot, but it's not active. So you make another Q stack. I made one here. View it. So the first Q just triggers the macro that we built. The second Q releases this Q stack and activates playback 10. So when I trigger it, 0.6 now, 0.3 now, 0.6, 0.3. See if Visualizer works today. So yeah, that's it. Hit the flash button. It's a 0.3 second fade out. Trigger the macro. I have it on playback 1's pause button. So trigger it. I have a 0.6 second fade out. Stupid part, I have it active. I trigger it. Or for some reason one it didn't activate, but even when it does, there's always a flash in between It always goes to black in between, which is a bummer. But like for literal intensity bumps, this works until we can get something better. Okay, that's all. Peace.